I cannot sufficiently enough stress how vital it is that the international business community gets involved and contributes to the process towards an ambitious agreement in Copenhagen in 2009. The business community has a great opportunity to be in at the finish. It is you that can provide the technological solutions to tackle climate change, and you can contribute directly to negotiations as well. A key question is how a new ambitious agreement can ensure economic incentives to push private investments towards a low-carbon solution society. That's, to me, actually the key question to the whole negotiation. You might think it's other things, such as let's say a financial aid package or the exact figures of a Annex 1 cut in emissions. My postulate would be it's not. The key question is how do you incentivize business life to choose the right solution instead of the wrong solutions? And often we are talking about marginal extra costs. As you might, some of you know, a year ago, the UNFCCC Secretariat was mandated to find out how much of the needed investment to go into a new low-carbon future globally, how much of that would come from ODA, how much would come from the carbon market, I mean, on the top in an accelerated carbon market, and how much would come from private investments. The conclusion was that up to 86% of this whole cost will not be influenced by any carbon market, by any ODA, by anything. It will just be investments made in countries. And that's very important to have clear. Therefore, the involvement of the business life in getting into a low-carbon future in developed countries as well as in developing countries is completely vital. And there is no doubt that the more you strive to provide the good example, developing clean solutions, clean technological solutions, and enhancing green investments, the greater are your chances, let's say, of influencing and assisting the politicians in the negotiations. And I urge you, I really ask you and urge you to, even before you leave Poznań, to sign up to come to participate in the World Business Summit on Climate Change in May 2009. I just repeat this. The World Business Summit on Climate Change in May 2009. Sign up to it. It's in Copenhagen. The Danish government supports the summit and considers it as an important event on the road to COP15. In general, the more you concert concrete and workable actions, the better. Climate goals from business vantage, the more you can possibly impact on the process of landing an international agreement. The shared ground is our search for fresh solutions to the most daunting challenge of our era, the challenge of climate change. We need nothing less than a new industrial revolution, in our opinion, only this time it is a green one. Will the financial crisis hamper this ambition? I hope not. In fact, it could well be that the current financial crisis increases the chances of landing an ambitious climate change agreement. Firstly, the crisis highlights greater demands for energy security. Secondly, investment in new technologies to combat climate change and thus creating new jobs and more resilient economies, that is obviously part of the solution. I'm saying this with a bit of hope. We need to switch to lower carbon technologies. We need to integrate renewable energy on a massive scale in our energy systems. We need to intensify efforts to become more energy efficient. We need to disseminate the new green technologies in all parts of the world. And we need the private sector to do direct investments toward the green solution. I'm sure that we can agree that these tasks are quite ambitious. In conclusion, you as business leaders, I also see some that are not business leaders, but you're welcome anyhow to take this to you. As business leaders, can help policymakers reach an ambitious deal in Copenhagen in 2009 under 4 conditions. If you provide the good example and show clearly to the world how technology transfers can be speeded up globally. By the way, I'm not a big fan of technology transfer. I would rather call it diffusion. And in this closed room here, very among good friends, I say this. Often the technologies are there already in developing countries. I often see the issue of transfer as a I have to be careful what I say here. But if I indicate that it is used sometimes in a wrong way, I think you will understand what I mean. And that I think is hindering the let's say the more accurate debate on technology. Namely, how do we penetrate the market? How do we get the right technological solutions into the market? Solutions that already exist in many countries. But don't quote me on this. If you take seriously, and that's the second thing, that climate change is good business. Climate change is good business. Your efforts impact directly on corporate valuation, and you are well advised to push for integrated and highly visible climate considerations in your company strategies. Thirdly, if you provide guidance to policymakers through in-depth studies of what is needed and point out existing and promising future solutions. That is a very important point too. And last but not least, if you mobilize international networks in governments and companies, do not hesitate to bring good examples to the table to show that dealing with climate change goes hand in hand with growth opportunities. I am confident that the businesses represented here in Poznan stand a unique chance to deliver. I hope you are ready to take up that challenge. Thank you very much.